Well, true crime fans will be tuning in next week when the infamous Menendez brothers front up to a Los Angeles court for a resentencing hearing. Erik and Lyle Menendez have spent nearly 3 decades in prison after being convicted of fatally shooting their parents in a case that continues to grab headlines today.
Now, the brothers maintain that they acted out of self-defense after years of sexual abuse by their father. But prosecutors said they committed the murders to gain access to a multi-million-dollar inheritance. Robert Rand is an author and longtime confidant of the brothers, and he was at Friday's hearing when the LA judge ruled that the brothers could be resentenced. I asked him what next week's proceedings would involve.
The resentencing is really just about the brothers' prison records and answers the question whether or not they're rehabilitated and whether or not they are a danger to the people of California. And the position of the defense is that the brothers are ready to be released, and they have done all kinds of work, good work with their inmate community. And they have earned their way to this point where they have an opportunity to get out. They were originally sentenced to life without parole, which really means you never get out in California. And now Erik and Lyle Menendez can possibly be released sometime later this year.
Robert, I think what's intriguing to the Australian audience is that there's a political angle to this case as well, isn't it? You know, we know that in America, district attorneys run for political office. And in this particular case, there's a DA that's running on a tough on crime campaign. So it's in his advantage if the brothers are not released from the prison. Have I got that right?
Well, politics were at the heart of this case 30 years ago when Erik and Lyle Menendez went on trial. And here we are in 2025, and politics are once again at the center of this whole controversy. The previous district attorney in Los Angeles, George Gascon, wanted to resentence the brothers last October and release them from prison. And the new DA, who was elected in November, Nathan Hochman, he is opposed to setting the Menendez brothers free. But what people need to understand is that the resentencing only deals with their record in prison and whether or not they are rehabilitated and whether or not they are a danger to the people of California.
Now, Erik and Lyle Menendez don't deny the fact that they did commit the murders, but they say they feared for their lives and they accused their father of sexually abusing them. So I wonder, with this resentencing, are the brothers asking for redemption?
You can't get around the elephant in the room. Erik and Lyle Menendez brutally killed their parents on August 20th, 1989. But what's different today is that society has evolved a great deal in the past 30 years since they first went on trial. People are now willing to accept that these things do go on within families. And when I interviewed all the jurors after the first trial, all the women voted for manslaughter, which is a lesser form of murder. The brothers still would have served 22 years in state prison. And all the men voted for murder. And the men all told me a father would never do that to his sons. And I think we understand now, we have a totally different outlook in society 30 years later, that these things do happen. And that's what Erik and Lyle are counting on. And the Menendez brothers have supporters all over the world. More than half of their supporters live outside of the States. And mostly these are young people, college age and in their 20s, that have more of a familiarity with the issues of abuse and the issues that were not accepted 30 years ago.
Now, in 1989, Robert, you spent something like 3 days interviewing the brothers just after the murders, and you have kept in touch with them, of course, over the years during their incarceration. You've become a close confidant as well. I want to ask, what's your personal interest in Erik and Lyle Menendez?
When I met them, they were 18 and 21. They were shy, quiet, college-age guys, and now they're middle-aged men. They are 57 and 54, and I think that it is time to review this case as is being done right now, and I believe they should be sent home to their family. My personal interest in following this case for so many years, over 3 decades, is that I believe the second Menendez trial was a complete miscarriage of justice. And that is because the jury in the second trial was not allowed to hear most of the evidence of abuse that the jurors in the first trial had heard. And that includes the family background, that includes the information about the abuse of the brothers. And in the penalty phase, following after Erik and Lyle Menendez were convicted of first-degree murder in 1996, then the defense was allowed to put on all that evidence that had been part of the first trial. And several of the jurors, after the second trial penalty phase, told me if they had heard that evidence in the guilt phase of the second trial, they would not have voted for murder. So that's what I consider to be a major miscarriage of justice. And I hope that now we have an opportunity to change that and fix that.
Well, Robert Rann, author and confidant to the Menendez brothers, we wish you all the best. Thank you for speaking with us on Weekend Breakfast.
Of course, you're very welcome.